cut 4 side pieces, so there's going to be 2 sides, so 4 of these, and I cut 4 of these. So I got the top piece even with the top, and I got the bottom piece about 1 inch from the bottom. I'm going to cut a general curve in the bottom of this piece, and then that way I can make the frames. So that's what I'm doing next. Alright, the way I'm going to get this curve is I have this bendy ruler, and I'm going to hold it up. I got some marks here, so I'll know where to end. But I'm going to get a curve going, and once I have it set, my wife is going to draw with the pencil on the bottom. Alright, go ahead. Just going to make one cut, and then I can take it to the oscillating spindle sander and sand the whole thing at one time. Okay, I've got a mark a 1/2 inch from the bottom of each side, and I have the rounded curved piece here, and I'm going to line up the end with those marks and clamp it down and drive the screws. Just do the same exact thing for the top. Alright, I'm not sure what I was thinking, but I should have planned ahead. My plan was to install a panel inset from the back, but I should have probably cut the grooves out before I joined the pieces. But I did figure something out. I can use the router. I almost gave up and was going to just do something else, but what I'm going to do is, and I'll show you. Figured out, remember that I had this bearing guided bit that I have installed on the router. So what I'm going to do is figure out how much I want to cut in, and I'll make a mark on this side, and I'll make a mark on the other side, and then I'll take this other piece of wood, put it on the line, clamp it down, and then use the router. The bearing will ride along this piece of wood and cut the groove out for me. So I'll have to do that 4 times, but it's better than the other option I was thinking of, so that's what I'm going to do. Alright, so you can see what it looks like. So I got to do the other 3 sides. Alright, the last part is where it's rounded over, where the router couldn't go all the way down. So I'm going to have to square those edges off with a chisel. I think that'll do good enough. Alright, I bought this panel to go inside. It'll face out towards the outside, obviously. So I'm gonna try to cut it down to size. I think I might cut it this way long first. I want to try to center up these 2 middle seams here, or these middle lines, kind of right in the center. So I'm gonna try to do that. Not sure how I'm gonna cut this down because this won't fit in my table saw sled. I might have to just get the circular saw out and make a cut. Alright, what I'm doing now is I've got the frame upside down so I can see the rabbet that I cut out. I'm just going to try to center these 2 lines in the middle here. Kind of going to just eyeball it, or I guess I could use my combo square right there. So that's centered between the rabbets. So I'm going to take my pencil and make a mark right where I need to cut on both sides. Alright, I only showed 1 cut on video, but I did make 2 cuts about 5 inches each. And fits very well. finish the other side now. Alright, so I got both panels done, and now I'm going to work on the base that'll connect the two sides together. And I thought I was going to have to make a panel here so I could have something big enough, but then I found this piece, and it is plenty big enough to fit what I'm going to fit. So all I have to do is just take this piece and cut it down to size, and then I can attach it to the two side pieces. So I have the two sides here and got them put together, and I've got the shelf at the bottom that will join the two sides together, and the bottom basket will sit on this shelf. So what I need now are 4 supports the same width as this shelf, 2 for the bottom on the front and back, and 2 for the top on the front and back. And here they are. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I need to take one of these pieces, which is going to go across the front on the bottom. I need to put the same kind of curve. So I'm going to draw out a curve on one of these, cut it out with the jigsaw, and then smooth it down on the oscillating spindle sander. Alright, I've got pocket holes cut and everything, so I think I'm going to actually pre-sand everything so that I think it'll be easier instead of having to try to sand in all the corners and stuff once it's put together. So I'm going to pre-sand everything now first, and then I can join the two sides together, and then I can stain what I'm going to stain. So that's what I'm going to do. I've got one of the sides laying down on the shelf. What I want to do is, I know I want the top of the shelf to line up with the top of this bottom support. The way I'm going to get that set up is I have my triangle, and I can butt it up against the top of that support and butt the shelf up against it. And I know I want the front of the shelf to be even with the front of the side, the bottom here. So as long as I got that flush and I got this lined up there, I'm going to go ahead and try to clamp it down, and so that I can drive the screws on the back side and it won't shift. Alright, now I think what I'm going to do next is attach these top supports up here on each side, and then when I'm done here, all I got to do is lay the other side on the table and then flip this side over, and then I can screw those pieces in. I had miscalculated and somehow cut these to be the same width as the ones on the side. So that meant when I put the top on, these things were sticking out past the bottom. So I had to take it to this table saw and cut some off. So you can see I cut through a couple of the pocket holes. But I'm gonna glue it up. So we'll have a couple of pocket holes in the glue holding everything together. Had I planned ahead and maybe drawn out some plans or something, I could have avoided this, but I just ain't got time for that, so I'm kind of just building on the fly. Alright, so it's the next day, and here's everything so far put together. I need to make a top. Alright, so I just realized I don't have a piece of plywood big enough to make the top without having to glue pieces together, and I don't feel like doing that, so I'm going to make the top later. So in the following scenes, when you see that top magically appear, that's what happened. So now I'm going to go ahead and start staining this piece. I'm not going to stain the inside of it yet because I do have to attach some rails, but I'm going to stain everything else right now just to get that step over with. Oh no, that's not good. You saw it here first. Okay, so now all the pieces are stained, and I'm trying to figure out the spacing. In the meantime, I figured out that the width of a 2x4, about 1.5 inches, is the perfect width for the supports. So I'm going to cut those. I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them, and then I'll go about installing those. Alright, that's enough. Alright, so before I put the supports in, I need to put the panels in, because otherwise, if I put the supports first, then I won't be able to fit the panels. So what I'm going to do is use super glue and some little small nail or tack nails. But you know, I miscalculated on the bottom, so I have this groove here that the panel has to go in at the bottom. So I'm going to put some super glue in there. Then I'm going to lay the cabinet down and then put a bead of super glue all the way around. Put the panel in and then tack it down with some nails. So here I am trying to figure out the spacing between the baskets. And I think I got it figured out in order to fit 4 high. So what I'm going to do is, to make it easy, I'm going to cut some spacers that I can stand up in here and then be able to set the support right on top so that I can have both sides perfectly the same. And then the distance from support to support, I'll cut another spacer that goes right here so that I can have them even all the way up. So that's what I'm going to do next. Alright, so you can see I got the spacers here. I got them clamped to the board. So what I'm going to do is just apply some glue to the support, put it on, clamp it down. I don't have any screws at this point that are the right length and able to go through here into here and not poke out the outside. So for right now it's just going to be glue, and maybe later I'll come back with some screws. Let that dry, and now I'm going to just go ahead and finish out the whole thing. I'll see you when I get done. Okay, the supports are in. They've all been glued in. Now the next order of business is to try to stain them, as well as the insides here. I'm going to try not to get any on the panel, but if I do, then I'll just do the whole panel, I guess. Alright, so I've got everything stained. I got the inside stained. As you can see, I did have to stain the inside panel because I couldn't keep the stain off of it. But now that I've got it together, my plan was to not have it back, but now that it's standing here, you can see how good it's wobbling. So I want to add a piece on the back, and I didn't plan to inset a panel, so what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to use my leftover piece of paneling here that's on the sides, and I've got enough. If I cut that thing in half, it'll mostly cover up the back end and leave about 2 inches. So then I'll just take a couple inch cut off of the cutoff piece and just fill in that spot there. There'll be a seam there, but it's going to be hard to notice it because the baskets will be in front and stuff like that. So that's what I'm going to do next. This will get. Alright, so I've got the panel nailed to the back. Worked out pretty good, and it's much more sturdy. So that works out. So now I've got the top clamped down, and I've got some pocket holes drilled, so I'm just going to attach it with pocket holes. Alright, here's the finished laundry sorting cabinet. It's hard to get a good shot here in the utility room. It's about the best I can get it where it's at right now, but of course you have your 4 baskets which can pull in and out on the bottom. Now our plan is to use, we have a laundry chute up top. We're probably going to put a big basket on top. That way we can drop clothes straight from the laundry chute down into the basket and then go from there. So my wife saw something similar to this online, so I built this one for her. I had no plans, I didn't write any measurements down, I just kind of built it kind of on the fly. So using whatever I had on hand, which was just a lot of ply and some 2x4s for the runners, or these slides, whatever you call those, I don't even know. And the only thing I really paid for was this paneling, but that was 15 bucks at Home Depot. Of course we had to buy another couple of baskets, we only had 2. So. Alright, please subscribe and check out my other videos. I've got a bunch of other woodworking videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.